Hello， 大家好，欢迎来到娜娜的可以吃的故事。我们今天要说的故事是乌龟跟兔子没有要赛跑。After the famous race, both the turtles and the rabbits' lives changed a lot. For a while after the race, the turtle barely wanted to leave his house. Every time he stepped outside, he could hear the whispers. If he smiled, people would say he was smug about winning the race. And if they weren't whispering behind his back, they were teasing him to his face, saying he just got lucky, like he won by pure luck. That said, noisy neighbors would always be noisy. The constant gossip, the feeling of living under a spotlight, it was exhausting. So, little by little, he started spending more time alone in the forest. At night, he would look up at the stars, and somehow they gave him a sense of peace. Over time, he fell in love with stargazing and began studying astrology. Years passed, and his knowledge of the stars grew deeper and deeper.Until one day, he became known as the neighborhood's fortune teller. Eventually, instead of asking about the race, people started coming to him for advice. Like,
Turtle, what should I do about this Mercury retrograde?
And,
what's my horoscope for today?
And just like that,The turtle found himself in an entirely new role. And the rabbit was completely different. He just couldn't let go of that loss. Neither could the neighbors. In fact, they seemed to enjoy teasing him a little too much. Every time they saw him, they couldn't resist cracking jokes at his expense.They even came up with a saying, "You'd better be ready or you'll be the rabbit." It drove him absolutely crazy. Anytime someone mentioned, "How could a rabbit like you lose a race to a turtle?" he would fly into a rage, desperately arguing.
"I lost because I was being nice.I didn't want the turtle to look too bad, so I gave him a little head start. Who knew I'd accidentally doze off and sleep too long? That's the only reason I lost. If we raced again, no, even if we raced 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, he wouldn't even catch a glimpse of my dust."
To make things worse,The rabbit had a terrible habit of never finishing what he started. He was always loudly announcing new plans, only to give up halfway through for one reason or another. Well, this gave the gossip-loving neighbors even more material to make fun of him. And so, the rabbit found himself stuck in an endless cycle.Restless, anxious, angry, and frustrated. The emotions just kept snowballing, getting bigger and bigger. His unhappiness with life soon turned into another bad habit. He started picking fights with the turtle every chance he got. To him, the race wasn't even about right or wrong anymore. He just didn't understand why everyone kept making fun of him.While the turtle, on the other hand, seemed to be completely fine. Everyone was suddenly treating the turtle like some kind of big shot, going to him for fortunes and star readings. Why? It wasn't fair. So the rabbit started waiting for the turtle on roads he knew he would pass, insisting they race again.And every single time, the turtle would say, "I'm busy." That only made the rabbit angrier.
Busy? are a turtle. You have nothing but time. You're just scared. How can you be so afraid to face reality? That race wasn't fair, and you know it. Everyone says you beat me, but doesn't that make you feel embarrassed?
And the turtle? Most of the time, the turtle just ignored the rabbit and went about his day. He knew that once the rabbit got his frustration out, it would pass. There was no need to argue. But this time was different. For some reason, the rabbit took things a step further. In the middle of the bustling market, he shouted at the turtle for everyone to hear.
You are just afraid of losing, so you won't race me, huh? All you ever do is hide in your shell. Oh wait, there is one more thing. You sure know how to win the race the shady way, coward.
This time, the rabbit crossed the line. The turtle could handle teasing, but if there was one thing he hated most, it was being called a coward who always hid in his shell. Turtles didn't hide because they were scared. They hid to protect themselves. Since when had that become an insult? Something inside him snapped. In that moment, it wasn't just about him anymore. It felt like he was standing up for turtles everywhere. He stopped in his tracks, slowly turned around, and looked at the rabbit with unwavering determination. He said, "Yes, I'll never be as fast as you. If we race, I'll lose every single time. Not because I don't try, but because we're all born different. Running is your strength, not mine. I don't want to race you, not because I'm afraid of losing. What's so scary about something that's already a fact? The unknown is what's scary. I was born slower than you, and I will stay that way my entire life, but so what? Why should I waste my time obsessing over something I can never change?" A pigeon wouldn't challenge a falcon to a flying contest. That would be foolish. That's just the harsh reality. Some things you'll never win at, no matter how much you wish you could. A crow will never spread its tail like a peacock, but does that mean a crow has no worth? Yes, you will always be faster than me. You could beat me in a race without even trying, but have you ever stopped to think? What do you have besides speed? What else are you good at? You have nothing. So tell me, who should really be afraid? The market fell silent. The crowd, who had been eager to watch the drama unfold, now waited for the rabbit's reaction. But the rabbit just stood there, face flushed, too angry to speak. Then, without a word, he turned and bolted out of sight. The turtle felt a pang of regret. He hadn't meant to hurt the rabbit. He knew the rabbit wasn't truly cruel, just childish. But his words had cut deep. And that's why he hated arguing. Because if you lose, you lose. And if you win, you still lose. The rabbit stormed back home, pacing anxiously. His mind raced with the turtle's words over and over. That annoying, smooth-talking turtle. Just because he's good with words, he thinks he's better than me? How dare he talk down to me like that? I'm so mad. Frustrated, he knocked things over, yanked open cabinets, and tossed everything onto the floor. Scattered everywhere were broken paint brushes, dried up paint, half-finished kites, a worn-out toolbox, incomplete puzzles, and crumbled sketch paper, each filled with ideas he had abandoned. Among them lay an old, scribbled workout plan, revised countless times, yet never followed through. He went still. Eventually, he curled up in bed, buried himself under the covers, and cried. Because deep down, he knew the turtle was right. But that only made him angrier. He wasn't mad at the turtle, he was mad at himself. Hours later, he laid on his back, staring at the ceiling. His stomach grumbled.
Great. Even now, I still have the energy to be hungry. I really am pathetic.
But there was nothing to eat. Just as he was about to give up and go back to sleep, there was a knock at the door. At this hour? Who could it be? The rabbit opened the door, and there stood the turtle, with a basket of carrots.
What do you want?
The rabbit asked, still sounding irritated. The turtle, unfazed, replied, It's the middle of the night, and I am standing here with food. What do you think? The rabbit felt a little warmth in his chest, but his pride wouldn't let him show it.
I don't need your pity. Save it.
He grumbled, walking away and plopping onto the couch. But he left the door open. The turtle rolled his eyes and walked inside. After a while, the rabbit mumbled,
No point in wasting food.
He grabbed a carrot and took a big bite. As the rabbit chewed, the turtle spoke slowly. That race never really mattered. Winning, losing, it doesn't change anything. Life isn't about that. The rabbit scoffed.
Easy for you to say. You've got it all figured out.
The turtle looked at him seriously. You think my life is easy because I was lucky? He shook his head. Maybe I was lucky to win that race. But was it luck that led me to spend years studying the stars? Was it luck that made people trust me? Was it luck that made me your personal punching bag all these years? The rabbit looked down, ears dropping slightly. He knew the turtle had a point, but his pride still wouldn't let him admit it. The turtle sighed and spoke more gently. You don't have to envy me. And you don't have to keep worrying about what's fair or unfair. Life isn't fair. You think I don't envy you? You're fast. I'll never be fast, no matter what I do. I'll always be slow, but so what? If I spend my whole life obsessing over something I'll never have, wouldn't that be the real tragedy? The rabbit looked up, curious.
So, you actually wanted to raise me? You really thought about it?
The turtle chuckled. Who doesn't want to win? No one likes losing. The rabbit opened his mouth to say something, but stopped himself. After a moment, his ears dropped even lower. I feel like nobody respects me. They only remember that I lost. The turtle tilted his head. Does it really matter what they think? The rabbit's voice was quieter now. It's easy for you to say.
People like you. They admire you. You're smart, you're patient. Everything you do turns out well. Try being me. Then tell me you wouldn't care what others think.
The turtle froze. He hadn't expected that. Then he took a deep breath and said, "You don't know, do you? Before that race, I didn't even know I'd be racing you. I was new to town, and they told me this was a great opportunity to make friends. But the moment I got there and saw the way they were looking at me, I realized it wasn't a real race. It was a joke. I was the joke." The rabbit stared. The turtle continued. "I wanted to leave, but I stayed, because if I walked away, they'd see me as a coward. That race wasn't about winning for me. It was about proving to myself that I wouldn't run away no matter what." The rabbit had no words. The turtle shook his head, his voice calm and steady. "Winning, losing. Seriously, does it really matter that much for you? What I want you to understand is that the race itself was never important to me. What mattered was proving to myself that instead of wasting time worrying about what others think, I should spend that time focusing on myself. And the same goes for you. You are not meant to race against me. You should be running your own race. You should be searching for your own path, because that's the kind of race that truly matters." The rabbit looked up at the turtle, conflicted, deep in thought. He mumbled, "You're right, but that's easier said than done." After a long pause, he hesitated, then quietly asked, "Then how do I know what my race is?" The turtle smiled and said, "How would I know? That's something only you can figure out. Maybe in the end, you'll realize that your race is one only you can run. It's not about competing with others, but about being better than you were yesterday. And when that happens, you won't be focused on how fast you're going compared to someone else. You'll be too busy seeing just how far you can go. In the end, that's something only you can discover for yourself." As the turtle walked away, the rabbit sat there in silence, staring at the half-eaten carrot in his hand. His eyes drifted to the mess around him, the scattered remnants of old projects, broken dreams, and unfinished plans. He reached down and picked up a broken paintbrush, turning it between his fingers. Maybe it was time to try again. Not to prove anything to anyone, not to win, just to start. Later, as the first rays of morning sunlight streamed through his window, casting a golden glow over his fur and warming his fuzzy tail, the rabbit exhaled, feeling lighter than he had in a long, long time. Maybe the most important race isn't the one you run against others. Maybe it's the one you run against yourself. And for the first time, the rabbit realized that was a race worth running.